Minecraft, a well-known game that has stormed the world with million players. A simple design, cubes stuck together in order to indicate different shapes and let the mind complete the picture. Smart. So, how difficult it can be to make a figure from the game? I started gathering out all my power tools. As I said, cubes stuck together. And there is a bend, a magical bend in the legs. They are floating. It's a game, so why to obey the laws of physics? But I'm forced to. And as I was ready and had every power tool in front of me, I realized in order to make it, I need just one, the driller. And for the rest, I run that table. And I make it so simple that if you follow along, you can do it. Let's start. Alright, I started by opening a package of wooden cubes that I bought from a craft store and choosing the best pieces possible because it's a cheap product and there is no consistency. After I found the best match, with a glue for wood and a brush, I glue the 4 pieces for the head and make sure that they still form in a bigger cube. Then I went with the 3 pieces of the left and right arms, glue the 2 pieces of the chest separately from the rest of the torso, and the 2 pieces of each leg, leaving behind the feet. With a paper, I wipe off the excess glue and let it secure. After 30 minutes, with a piece of medium grit sandpaper, I started sanding out the pieces that I glue, in order to remove some glue residue, crevices, imperfections, and overall to make them more uniform. And so to complete this task, I apply wood putty. And then waited for another 10 minutes. Yeah, I said it's easy, but I didn't say that it's not time consuming. So after the putty dry, like a deja vu once again, I sanded out all the pieces. With a mechanical pencil and ruler, I made crosses to the pieces so I can find the center more easily that I'm gonna drill in order to make the joints. I marked the 2 joints of the arms, then the joint for the head, the both sides of the lower torso part, the center of the upper part, the both sides of the upper legs, and the one side of the feet that will be the caps for the legs later on. With the driller, hey! The driller. Huh? The driller. Huh? With the driller, I tested different sized drill bits into an extra piece until I find the best match for the wooden dowel that will serve as the joints. I pinched the center of each cube to make it easier for the driller. And then I drilled the holes for the arms and the head, and because I forgot the torso side, I did the same procedure. After with slightly bigger drill bit than my 1mm brass wire that I also bought from a craft store, I started making holes all the way through into the 2 sides of the lower torso part, and did the same on the legs so the wire can pass through. and with a 5mm drill bit I made holes halfway through into the two cups. With just one 4mm wooden dowel that I also bought from a craft store. Generally, the most of the materials that I use you can find them in a craft store. Anyway, I started making the joints. Insert the dowel into the one side of the arm. With a cutter I cut them roughly, then it was trial and error until they had perfect fit to the other side. Then I did the same for the other arm and the head. I flattened out the line of the shoulder so the head could rotate more easily, and with a small file I made small channel for my wire, the side where the torso will be attached later on so it can have room. After that I detached everything, and with a ruler and mechanical pencil I divided my cubes by 4 so that each cube is divided into 60 smaller ones. It's so to give a more realistic texture and look to the piece. Also it's gonna help with the painting later. It's a time consuming process that took me many hours because then with a small flat screwdriver I scratched all the lines. But it was worth it in the end, I think, and you will see why. With the cutter, as my plier and the 1mm brass wire, and I choose it because you can bend it without breaking that easily in comparison with a steel wire, and it's a little bit harder than copper wire, so I found it was the best candidate for the project. Anyway, I pass it through the one leg, then the torso, and end up to the other side of the other leg. Cut the rest, bend them, and with the plier I made spiral endings. Put the legs slightly so they can move by the end, and tested the cups if they fit alright, and glue them in place with the rest of the torso. And because it's enough for one day, I wanted to dedicate a full day for the final part, so I started gathering everything until the next day. Alright, I did a small mistake yesterday. It's not a mistake. You just have to do it 2 times. I make the lines, and when I glue the pieces they were needing fixing, so I have to sand them and some putty to sand them, you know. And I have to do it again because every line that I had almost erased. Yeah, that's it. So I made the lines again where it was needed to. I gave them a light sanding and started gathering out all my painty stuff. I went with acrylic paint because it's what I like to use, but you can use whatever you feel comfortable with. I made a white base. Then I took a pad and with a pencil I started making the reference lines of the character. I went with Alex. I already made Steve, but you can choose whatever character inspired you most. So by mixing paints I made the basic colors, and using the scratch lines as a guide I started painting my character. Then with different shades of colors, I started to give it a small details in order to make it look more digital and more faithful to the design. The more time you spend on it and also the more work you put on it, it will depend on how good the final result will be. So, if you decide to do this project, take your time and enjoy the process. Where is the landscape? What landscape? We agree that I will make the characters, you're gonna make the landscape. I'm not gonna make a whole landscape using just a driller. Why to make it with just a driller? You said we're gonna use only one power tool. I mean for the character. Where is the landscape? You can say we're gonna make part 2. Well, that's it. And that's the character. How are you feeling? I'm feeling great. She's feeling great. I'm feeling great. And I hope you're feeling great. And try to make this thing. And I've never played Minecraft before, but when I see a good design, it's a good design. And if you want to see something a little more advanced than this one, you can check this video. And if I'm gonna make part 2, the landscape, it's gonna be here, or it's gonna be my stupid face for subscribe. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you like it, and if you did, push the like button. Until next time, bye bye.